From Columbia in high definition, this is WIS News 10 Awareness.
On this World AIDS Day, uniting to fight against HIV and AIDS globally. We're taking a look at how these viruses affect South Carolina, and we'll hear from those who are not only surviving, but thriving. But first, Columbia voters voiced their choice on whether the city's mayor will get more power and a bigger paycheck. We're weighing both sides of the strong mayor debate. Thank you for joining us for Awareness. I'm your host, Megan Norman. One of 7 votes, or the executive power to make decisions. That is the issue placed in voters' hands this Tuesday. So what does it all mean? Scott Slatton, legislative and public policy advocate for the South Carolina Municipal Association, breaks it all down. Let's start with what a strong mayor form of government is.
The strong mayor form of government is actually called the mayor-council form of government by state law. And the mayor-council form of government is called strong mayor because the mayor plays a dual role. The mayor is a member of the city council. The mayor is a member of the legislative body. He or she has a vote on council to help set policy, to determine ordinances, policies for the city. But then the mayor also has the chief executive role. In addition to the legislative role, they play the chief executive role, where the mayor is responsible for the execution of the policies that he or she helps to pass as a part of the council. And so the mayor holds that dual role and has more authority than another member of the city council does.
And so talk about how that compares to the council manager form of government.
Well, in the council manager form of government, the mayor is a member of council as he or she is in the mayor council form. But the mayor does not have any extraordinary authority beyond that of another council member. The chief executive role is played by the city manager, who is hired by the city council based on his or her qualifications and their experience. So that's really the key difference between the two. Who has the chief executive responsibilities in each of the forms? In the mayor-council form, it's the mayor. In the council manager form, it's the city manager. But the council in both forms retains or holds that legislative function at all times. The council is the policy-making body for the city.
In a strong mayor, or I should say a mayor-council form of government, where is the manager? Does she or he completely disappear, or does that transfer into an assistant role, or how does that work?
Well, there is no manager in the mayor-council form of government. The council and the mayor, if they choose, may hire an administrator, and the administrator is named that in the law. The administrator may be hired by the mayor and the council to assist the mayor in his or her duties in carrying out the policies of the city council. But a key difference there is that if they don't hire someone with the title of an administrator, then certainly the mayor is free to hire someone to help him, but they may not have, that person may not have the administrator's title. And incidentally, the administrator is given duties and responsibilities by the mayor and the council. They're not spelled out in the state law like it is for a city manager in the council manager form. The city manager in the council manager form, his or her responsibilities are laid out by the law and cannot be taken from them by the city council.
Some people may think in a strong mayor form of government or mayor-council form of government that the mayor has too much authority. Where are the checks and balances in this form of government?
Well, in the mayor-council form, the mayor still, in order to do the things that he or she may want to do from a policy standpoint, still has to build consensus, still has to have a majority of the council to vote in favor of that. So if a mayor wants to change a policy or adopt a new policy or an ordinance, he or she still has to get a majority vote on council. And so that is a check in one respect. Particularly with regard to the budget process. The mayor is responsible for preparing and submitting a budget to the council, but the council has the oversight in terms of whether or not it wants to adopt that budget as presented. It can change that budget. It could adopt a completely different budget if it sees fit. And so in that respect, the mayor has to then work within the confines of that budget. He wouldn't be allowed to spend more money necessarily than is allowed for in the budget. And then depending on the city's particular financial policies and procedures, he may or may not have a lot of discretion with how to spend money within that budget.
Now, we know that there is one city currently that, at least one, that is operating with this form of government, and that would be in Charleston. Mm-hmm. How effective has that been?
Well, I don't think that anyone could necessarily argue that Charleston's success has been had in large measure because of the personalities that inhabit that particular form of government. Mayor Riley has been a very effective mayor over the years, but I think he would acknowledge and agree that he hasn't done it by himself. He's had to have a council that's been willing to go along with him and his initiatives. He's had to have the support of the business community. He's had to have the support of the residents and the citizens of the city as well. The form of government that best suits the needs of that particular city is the one that's preferred by those residents.
And lastly, are there any inherent challenges or any positives or benefits to the mayor-council form of government?
Well, as I said, it's a matter of preference. Again, they all work well. They all work well so long as the folks who are that work within those forms perform and maintain their roles and responsibilities, and they stay within their lane. Whenever we swerve out of our lane of responsibility is when we have problems. So I don't know that there is one that is better than the other, but I would tell you that they all work quite well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Scott.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. This form of government has supporters and challengers. Two of them are here with us today. Howard DUVALL is the retired executive director for the South Carolina Municipal Association, and Henry McMaster, former state attorney general and co-chair of the group Columbia Citizens for a Better Government, as well as a Columbia attorney. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Now, we heard Scott say that either form of government can work depending on the players and how they all work together. Now, Howard, you disagree on the strong mayor form of government here for Columbia.
I don't think the strong mayor form is the proper form for the city of Columbia. I think the council manager, where you have a professionally qualified manager that runs the day-to-day operation and carries out the policies that are determined by the elected officials, the mayor and the city council, is the proper form. It's the most efficient way for large cities to run their city. 70% of the cities the size of the city of Columbia, between 100,000 and 250,000, use the council manager form. It has been determined by IBM to be one of the most efficient ways to run a city. And the city manager is accountable 365 days a year, where the elected mayor is only accountable every 4 years in an election. You ask the people in Toronto or in San Diego how you get rid of a mayor that's gone berserk, and it's almost impossible to do that. So I think that a professionally qualified city manager running the city with the council and mayor determining the policy is best for the city.
Now, Henry, even though the manager does report to council and the mayor, you don't think the city manager is necessary?
No, I think you have to have professionals working with the mayor. But you have to have, in a city the size of Columbia and as great as we want to be, you've got to have one person that the people can call to get things done, whether it's something with roads or trees or sewage or anything else. You have to have someone who is accountable to the people by voting. And that's the way to do it. A city manager under our system now is accountable to 7 members of council. Each who has an equal say-so, and that's just, that is not an efficient form of government. Everything that works well has one boss who is responsible for public safety, who is responsible for talking to for instance, businesses that want licenses, that want to come to the state, where we want to grow. We got a lot of competition out there, economic competition around the country. The Southeast is going to boom. South Carolina is going to be right in the middle of it. The capital city is going to be in the middle of that. And we have to have a mayor whose leadership, whose vision can be implemented, who is directly accountable for the vote to the voters. And we don't have that now.
Megan, that concentration of power with the mayor completely guts the 421 system that we put in the 1980s. It takes all the authority away from your elected council members in your districts and puts them with one person that determines where the police go, where the potholes are fixed, and who gets jobs. All the 2,300 employees for the city of Columbia would be reporting to the mayor. That is a perfect prescription for cronyism and corruption. And it's why the city of Columbia changed in 1950 away from the mayor council to the council manager form. If you want to have a voice of the people heard, spread that voice out between the districts as the 421 system does in the city of Columbia. If you elect a strong mayor who has complete dictatorial power, you are going to ruin a representative government that we have.
Henry, do you want to respond to that?
Sure. Well, even under the strong mayor system, the mayor would not have dictatorial power. Anything about spending money, the budget, zoning, all that sort of stuff would all have to go before council. Council makes all those decisions, just like Congress passes the laws and the president is supposed to execute them. It's the exact same model. But we need to be able to elect someone who has a vision for the city, who then has the power through having executive authority to implement that with the cooperation of the members of council. Right now, if you want something done, you've got to call a meeting. A citizen does it. We need to have a system where you call the mayor and you get things done, and if he or she doesn't do it, you get another one.
Well, I know we could talk for hours on this topic, but I thank you for the short time that we've had this morning to talk about both of your insights. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
Well, on Tuesday, it will be up to you to decide. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. To find out where you can cast your ballot on the Strong Mayor referendum, go to our website, wistv.com. Still to come, one of the top 10 states in the nation for newly diagnosed AIDS cases annually. Get the facts about the virus, information on the latest treatments, and find out where you can get tested. Stay with us. Awareness on World AIDS Day continues after the break.
He came to my house posing to deliver pizza, and he raped me.
I knew nothing about HIV until it was a part of my life.
I was the one they said would not make it. But they were wrong, because I stand before you today.
As a young person, you think it's not going to happen to me, and it did.
HIV and AIDS is out there, and it's on the loose. It does not care. So if you think it's not going to be you, then you need to reconsider that.
Thoughts many people who now live with HIV once said, "It's not going to happen to me." You just heard how it can become a reality. One of them is Shahan Wallahinda. He is here with us to share his story and how he is now in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Also, Dr. Bambi Gaddis joins us from the South Carolina HIV/AIDS Council with how the state stacks up against the rest of the nation. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Good morning.
Now, Shahan, you found out in 2004 about your status.
I did, yes.
Tell me what that was like.
It was scary, because as a young person who knew everything about HIV and AIDS and how to prevent it, I thought I was invincible in some ways, and to find out that I contracted it was really scary. It was definitely scary, but I had the support around me and was able to get over that fear, get over that initial shock, and start doing what I needed to do to get the word out there.
Right. And now you're working to raise more awareness, specifically with younger people.
Absolutely, yes. I coordinate a group called Youth Empowered Against HIV. It's a young group for 18 to 24-year-old folks who go out into the community and educate their peers about HIV, about getting tested, and about preventing it. So.
Okay. Well, thank you, Shahan.
Absolutely.
Dr. Gaddis, number 8 in the nation for years. Why? Why is that still the case?
Well, you know, that's good news, because there have been times in recent years we've been even higher. South Carolina has been in the top 10 for 30 years of AIDS. And so, you know, we keep talking about numbers, but I'm not sure that's saturating with folks. There's a reason for those numbers. And so the bigger conversation is the why. And what is it we need to do differently than what we've been doing? And we've made progress. We're making progress. Schools, for example. We are still concerned about what is going on in the schools. There's an effort now. There's a bill before the legislature to improve comprehensive school health education, particularly the sexuality components. We've lost ground. And so we have a whole generation coming up in South Carolina of young people who are just totally unprepared to maneuver through into adulthood.
Do you think part of it is still the fear and the stigma around the disease?
That's so funny. I leave tomorrow to go to Howard to the International Stigma Conference, and that's where we're going to talk about what is the mindset that we have been unable to overcome. That's why we're working with churches, for example. They can be a critical part of looking at how do we change our mindsets and how do we look at people in a fair and decent way, knowing that this is a health disparity issue that could happen to anyone, could have been any one of us.
Right. Well, and finally, let's talk about the importance of knowing your status and getting tested. Why is it so important?
It's important because if you care about your health, and you should, then you will do everything to prevent something from happening. So getting tested, you will find out whether you are negative or positive. And if you are positive, you can get those resources, you can get into care immediately and ensure that you have a long and healthy life.
And that's regardless of age. People don't know that over 70% of the cases of AIDS are in South Carolina are over 50. So people keep thinking that this is just a young disease. The newer cases are among our young men 18 to 29, but we have, because of medication and treatment, people are living with HIV. And so people are surprised that we're growing and aging into AIDS. And so this is a conversation to know your status is across generations, it's across age.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gaddis and Shahan, for being with us. And we'll have more information on our website about where you can go to get tested. When awareness returns, a smile that will light up a room. One little girl keeps that smile as she fights AIDS every single day. We'll talk to Lorinda's mother about what it is like to care for her. Born with HIV, little Lorinda was left by her biological mother to face the disease alone. When Lorinda was just a year old, Joy Cameron decided to give Lorinda her last name and help her live out her dreams. Joy and Lorinda join us now. They brought along Lorinda's little buddy, Lotus. Thank you both so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now, Joy, why did you decide to adopt Lorinda?
Well, I always wanted to adopt ever since I was 12 years old, and I got a call one day asking if I could consider a little girl who was HIV positive. And at that time, I really wasn't informed, but I said, okay. 2 days later, I got the call that I was selected for Lorinda, and so I was very excited, and that started our journey together.
And you faced some backlash from your own family just for making this decision.
I did, yes. I wasn't even really informed of what HIV was or how you can and cannot catch it. And I had some family members that were very scared, didn't want me to proceed with the adoption. I just felt so secure and this is what I should do. This little girl is going to be my little girl that I moved forward. And everybody came around. Everybody has a great relationship now.
And how has the experience been caring for her since infancy?
Well, she came to me with full-blown AIDS. I honestly didn't know a lot about it. Like I said, I didn't expect her to make it to 5 years old. But I've learned so much. The medication is keeping the virus suppressed. And I found out that she, since her viral suppression is great, her CD4 count is great, she's going to grow up.
Right.
She can get married to a non-affected guy and have negative babies.
And how did you explain her disease to her?
We started out by learning that she has sick blood, so she needs to be very careful that her sick blood doesn't get in anybody else's cuts because it could make them sick.
Right. And why is it so important to spread awareness about this issue for you?
The stigma is still out there. A lot of people just aren't educated. So with Lorinda's Facebook page, I put an education station every day, and it's myths, facts and myths, so people can learn. Oh, I didn't know you couldn't get it this way. Or we share utensils. The only thing we don't share ever is what? A toothbrush, right?
And why is that, Lorinda? I'll let you think about it for a minute. I think Lorinda's a little shy this morning. But obviously you've talked to her about it, you've talked to family members about it, and now you're looking to adopt another child who's HIV positive.
I'm excited. I had the state of Pennsylvania contact me and say they had several children waiting for a family that nobody wanted because they were positive. That's exciting.
And Lorinda has so many big hopes and dreams, and you told me a bucket list even.
Lorinda has a bucket list on her Facebook page. She fell in love with flamingos on her Make-A-Wish trip. She'd like to see the marching flamingos in Nassau. She wants a red truck so she can take her friends all around.
And she loves Lotus and puppies like that?
Yes, and this is an exciting story because Lotus was a hoarder breeder case, and a Chihuahua rescue out of Texas contacted us and made one of her bucket wish lists come true, huh?
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lorinda and Joy, for being with us and helping to spread this message and to spread awareness.
Thank you for having us.
We'll be right back with a final thought. Whether you believe Columbia's mayor should have more power or not, the choice is yours. We hope we've armed you with enough information to make a decision when you go to the polls on Tuesday. The choice is also yours when it comes to HIV and AIDS. It's up to you to know your status and to get tested. Together, we can stop this insidious disease one person at a time. Once you know better, you can do better. We would like to thank our guests, Howard DUVALL, Henry McMaster, Dr. Bambi Gaddis, Shahan Wallahinda, also Lorinda, Joy, and Lotus Cameron. Until next time, I'm Megan Norman. This is Awareness.